Hey guys, this is my old Ivy Bridge i7 gaming machine. It's pretty outdated, but it's been serving me pretty well so far. I'm going to be upgrading the drives in it to these guys right here. Now you'll notice back here, the C drive is basically where my OS and a few other things are installed. I'm running pretty low on space there, and the E drive is where my Steam library is installed. And I have all my games on there. That's also running, I mean, it still has 50 gigs, but that can be used up really quickly. I really need to upgrade both of these. So yeah, you'll have to excuse all the smudges on my screen. Just the way the lighting is just makes they show up so much more on the camera. But anyways, I'm gonna be upgrading those drives. I'm gonna basically replace both of them with these. And let's see, so I have a Kingston 240 gig. That's going to replace this 64 gig drive here. And then I have this, I have a Samsung, VNAND SSD 870 EVO 1 terabyte. So I'm going to replace this 500 gig drive with a 1 terabyte drive. Now, I almost feel like I could go with something larger, but for the time being, I'm going to go with that. Now, the goal here is going to be I'm going to pull out, I'm going to basically record the whole process, but I'm gonna physically pull both of these drives out. I'm gonna clone them. I'm gonna take images of the drives, then I'm going to attempt to write the images to these two disks. Then I'm going to expand the partitions and expand the file systems, and hopefully basically have this be a drop-in replacement. I'm going to insert these new disks back into this system, and it's going to boot up and hopefully work seamlessly. My OS should work as if nothing changed, except I'll have more space, and I should have more space on my Steam library. So I'm going to see if I can do that successfully. Now, I'm mostly doing that just for the sake of doing it. Then after I've done that, I'm basically going to hold on to the images of these as a backup, hold on to the old disks too. Now, the real eventual plan is I'm going to basically throw away all that work of cloning the drives, and I'm going to just rebuild Windows on these two disks. This is going to be a freshly built system. I'm going to reinstall Windows on the Kingston drive, fresh clean install, and reinstall the Steam library on the Samsung drive. And the whole idea is, rather than use this as my gaming PC, I'm going to give this old gaming PC to my kids, and I'm going to build a new one for myself. So that's the plan with this box. I'm going to basically clone these two drives onto bigger drives and insert the bigger drives in the system. Once I confirm that I can do that successfully, I'm just going to wipe the whole system out and rebuild it. And then I'm going to take any files or whatever I needed from the old system, and I'm going to build a whole new gaming system. I'm not sure about GPUs because those are pretty expensive these days, but that is the plan. So to clone the drives, so this is a Windows 10 system. I'm actually going to be, this is my Windows 10 system here. I am going to be cloning them on my, so the actual system is beneath my desk here. It's a little messy under here, but yeah, this is my gaming system down here. That's my Windows box down here. And if you look behind my monitors here, this is my, the smudges and dust look terrible on camera, but in any case, yeah, this is my Linux workstation. I'm going to be connecting them to my Linux workstation using this, I'm going to use this device over here. You can see I have a mechanical hard drive in it. This will take any SATA drive, so I'm going to stick the SSDs in here, so they have SATA connections. So anything with a SATA connection, I can just stick two drives in here, and I am going to clone them using the DD command on my Linux workstation over here. Now, normally I'd have this Linux workstation connected up to this monitor. Right now I have my MacBook Pro connected to this monitor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually be, even though I've disconnected my Linux workstation, I can still log into it remotely. So I'm going to be cloning my Windows drive using my Linux desktop here, but I'm going to be accessing it remotely from my MacBook Pro here. And I'm going to be using the DD command to clone it. So I'm going to take the image, and then I'm going to write the image using the DD command. It's also possible, I'm going to try mounting the image to see if I can see the files on my system. I just did that recently. I did some file recovery for some of my, like my wife's PC just died and I was recovering her files for her. I was able to do that recently and just clone the drives and mount them and access everything on the system. You can also boot those drive images with as virtual machines, so good chance I'm going to be doing that too. I'm just going to see if I can turn my old Windows system here into a virtual machine, just to see if I can do it. But any case, that's what I'm gonna give that a shot right now. So now let's pull those old drives out. All right, so now I'm going to log into my Linux workstation. Just SSHing right in here. I'm going to sudo to root. And let's just list block devices, LSBLK. You can see here we have SDA and SDB. Those are part of my Linux system. SDC and SDD are the disks that I want to clone. So I'm going to clone those disks. I'm going to take images of them. You'll notice it shows the partitions for each disk. So SDC has like SDC 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it's 5 partitions. And SDD only has 2 partitions. You can see the size of each partition and all that stuff too. So what I had highlighted there. So df-h, so showing how much space I have on my regular hard drive on my Linux system, which is where I'm going to copy these images off to. I'm going to copy them onto my NVMe drive, which is inside my the actual box. So here we're going to run the actual command. I'm using sudo, so I'll have permission to actually access the raw device using dd. So you need that when you're using the dd command usually just to access a raw device. And you notice I'm running the time command because I wanted to show me how long it took to actually run the dd command. So sudo for permissions, time to check how long it takes. dd is to write to the disk, if equals, and we put our input device. Be really careful with this. Don't overwrite the wrong device when you use this command. Make sure you know what you're doing and pay really close attention. I have some other options like conv equals sync and no error, and BS equals 128K. BS is the block size. This is just what I chose. I forget off of the top of my head if that's the absolute optimal size, but that's what I picked. And I redirected. Near here we just cut away to after I finished taking the image. It took a little while, but I redirected out to an image file called winosdisk.img. So that's the file that holds the image of my hard drive. So now we're going to do the same thing, but for the other disk. So we're going to change the name of the image file that we're going to store the image of our hard disk in. And we are also going to change the device right here. So let's see here. Change that to SDD. And let's give that a shot as well. We're going to hit enter and skip right ahead to where it just finished. And there we go. There's our disk. We can see how big it is. We can see we have 466 gigs. Our OS disk was 60 gigs. So we can run fdisk-l on here. This is going to actually show us the partitions on that image. So just like the disk had partitions, our image of the disk has partitions. Now we can calculate the offset of these partitions. I actually forget not exactly how you calculated this off the top of my head, but this is what I'm doing here. Yeah, you're not gonna, if you want to replicate what I'm doing, don't base this off of what I'm saying here in the video, because all the numbers are going to be different for you anyways. So rather than explain it here, check the link in the description. I have a document that I wrote that tells you how to figure out the start and stop position and what to multiply them by. I think it's like the block size or something like that. But you have to specify the offset of the partition that you want to mount. So in this case, notice I'm doing sudo mount and -o for options, and loop is a loopback file system. So that's when you map an image of a file system. That's loopback. And I'm specifying the offset of the partition in that disk image. So that's how we mount an actual partition inside an image file, and then we specify the file itself. Now to figure out that exact offset, just take a look at the link in the description. I have a whole write-up on how to do that. So I'm going to have probably at least 2 links in there, one to the page that goes along with this this disk imaging video, and one to my other page that's my write-up on how to take images like this and how to mount things this way. So just and those might be the same page, but just check the links in the description. It's going to be there if you want to see how to do that yourself. Now here I am accessing what's on that. So yeah, these are all my files on the hard drive. This is just me verifying that I can actually read the files on my hard drive, which is pretty nice. I have one of them censored out there. Just a personal document, nothing too sensitive, but I just figured I'd censor it out for a YouTube video. And there we go. We're going to unmount that partition now that we know we can mount it and read the files. All right, so now we're going to swap our disks again. Take the old drives out. Now that we've taken our images, we're going to put the new drives in. So here's our new Samsung. And our new Kingston. And remember, if you want to pick these drives up, check the links in the description for where you can find these on Amazon. And here I'm actually going to power this off and back on. I forget if at the time I had issues with this not picking up the drives or why I did that, but that was one thing I did. In any case, here we go. We can now see the we do LSBLK, filter out the loopback devices, and we see SDC and STD with no partitions on them yet. So unpartitioned disks, they're bigger than the original 2 disks. We're gonna write the images to them, and once we've done that, they will have partitions. So we can see here, those are the 2 images that we took earlier. So I'm going to run sudo time for the same reason we did before for permissions and just to see how long it takes. DD, and in this case, instead of saying IF for in file, we're doing OF for out file. So the file we're writing out to is dev SDC. which, make sure you're writing out to the correct file. If I had done dev STA or SDB, I would have overwritten one of my system devices on my Linux desktop, and that would have been a nightmare. So yeah, just make sure you know what you're doing and be really careful. Yeah, don't destroy your system because you're blindly copying commands that I'm using in this video. Setting the block size to 1 meg. And let's see here, we're going to specify, so for in file, so instead of using redirection or anything, for in file, we're using we're specifying the image that we took earlier, and for out file or OF, we're specifying the physical device that we're going to write to. It's a little bit different from how we actually took the image originally. All right, so we have an error here. And we needed a capital M. So yeah, if you run this, make sure you specify your megs in, with a capital M rather than a lowercase. And there we go. Completed. Now we're going to do the same for the next disk. So we're going to write our Steam disk to STD, which is the larger device. There we go. Both disks written out. I'm going to run lsblk, filter out the loopback devices, and there we go. We can see that STC and STD actually have partitions now. So the partitions that those images had, now that we wrote the images over the physical drives now also have those images, partitions. And we're now going to take them out, and we're going to pop these drives out and put them back in our old gaming box. We're going to see how this works. Alright, so after cloning the drives, it looks like it boots up just fine. So the partitions need to be expanded because I cloned these from the old drive. So I just wrote the image directly over the new drive. So I'm gonna have to expand the partitions on these, but it looks like I have been able to boot Windows off the Windows disk. This is actually larger than this. And looks like my Steam volume is also accessible. I can click on this and there's all my files and everything. So that's kind of nice, and obviously this one's accessible because that's what I booted Windows off of. But I'm gonna open up the disk tool and see if I can expand these in just a sec. All right, so here's the disk manager. You can see my OS disk. Looks like the unallocated, there's a recovery partition here in the way, so we might not be able to expand this. I'm gonna give it a shot anyways. No, I think I'm just gonna leave this I might remove this and try to expand it if I planned on keeping this system, but I'm actually going to wipe both of these disks in a little bit anyways, so I guess it doesn't matter. That said, I'm going to try to expand this one just to show you how I would do it. So this is pretty simple. So this is the disk management tool in Windows 10. So I can click on this. Let's try extending the volume. All right, extend volume wizard. There's probably a better way to do this, but let's see. Let's just give it a shot. There we go. We have now extended the volume. And let's see here. Yeah, so if I click away from this and then, you know, click on something else and then come back, this basically just needs to be refreshed. And now over here in Explorer, you're seeing my data volume is a full gig instead of half a gig. So yeah, it looks like that worked. It was pretty easy. Just, you know, extend volume, click next, accept all the defaults, and there we go. It's extended. So we've done that. You know what? I think I actually am going to try to extend this. I don't think I can't move this, and in order to expand this, I would have to expand into this space. So I don't think I need the recover. I'm going to wipe this whole thing out anyways, so I'm just going to give this a shot and see how it works. I'm not sure if this will even let me remove this. You know, maybe I need to be an admin user. All right, so we from PowerShell we launched DiskPart. I guess you could run that from Control-R also, or Windows R. Anyway, let's see here. We want to. All right, so we have a couple disks. Select disk 0. And let's see here, list partition. I'm going to say 5. Is that partition 5? Oops. Up through 5, let's see 1. Yeah, 5 is unallocated, right? It's almost a gig. Yeah, that's the one I need. All right, so it's gonna be 5. Select the partition. All right, let's see here. All right, no more recovery partition. Let's see if we can do anything with this. Extend volume. All right. And there we go. We now have more space here too. All right, you can kill this DiskPart tool, kill PowerShell, and let's see. So it's not showing up yet, but like I did with the other disk, I'm gonna just move away to this area, come back, it's refreshed. All right, there we go. We have more space on our C drive as well. All right, our C drive and our E drive have a bunch more space, so that was excellent. That I would consider a success. Now I still have my old drives and I have the images that I took of them. So what I'm going to do is, I am now not on this video. This is it for this video. After this, I'm basically just gonna wipe both of these drives and reinstall the system for a gaming system for my kids. But yeah, that's about it for today. Hopefully you found this informative or maybe interesting. If you know something I don't know, leave a comment down below, not just for me, but for the next person who watches this video. And yeah, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button because we have a ton of great content coming up you're not going to want to miss. Hit the little bell icon too, otherwise YouTube won't let you know when we come out with new videos. And we have all sorts of great stuff coming out about servers, systems, hardware, software, servers, desktops, 3D printing, single board computers, electronics, Raspberry Pis, all sorts of great stuff, networking. All sorts of devices we're going to cover. We take apart phones, tablets, old PCs, new PCs. We have some new PC builds coming out too. So stay tuned for all of that. You're not going to want to miss all of this. Yeah, hit the subscribe button. So as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on that next video.